Welcome to another edition of the Social Proof Podcast, man. We find dope people that do dope stuff, man. And today is no different. And I kind of want to have a deeper conversation today because there's a lot of people that focus on the money. And even on this podcast, we talk about how to become financially successful. But there are a lot of different ways to become successful. And we're going to talk about a bunch of them today. And my guest today is very, very impressive. Yeah, I'm impressed by you.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
I'm impressed.
Thank you.
You do a lot of stuff I can't do.
Okay. But
Maybe
you can do it. You haven't got to it yet.
Yeah, maybe it's not that I can't do these things.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten myself to want to.
There you go. You're still flirting with it.
Yeah. So you're going to do a bunch of attacking me on this, but I'm going to be on the hot seat today, okay? But Carlos, what's up, man? Introduce yourself, brother.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Carlos Patterson, and I'm the growth strategist.
Growth strategist?
Yeah.
In what way?
In a way that any area of your life that you need growth, specifically for me, is business scaling, mindset, and relationship training. I help you grow in that exponentially.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I want to start with this, okay? Sure. It says, About World Marathon Majors, and as Tokyo, Boston, London, Berlin, Chicago, New York. What is this? What does this represent?
This represents the 6 world majors. This company, only about 30,000 people have been inducted into this. So I completed all 6 world majors around the world. I've done 4 in 1 year.
But when you say completed world majors, what is a world major?
A world major marathon.
Okay.
Every marathon is 26.2 miles. So I've done all 6 of them to complete, to be inducted into this Hall of Fame.
You ran 26 miles in Tokyo, Boston, London, Berlin, Chicago, and New York City.
Yeah, every race. Yeah.
All right, how do you get yourself to do it? Because I can't stay on the treadmill longer than 15 minutes. How do we, okay, were you always like that? Like I'll just push my body?
Well, I always push my body, but actually I started getting back into it when I got into entrepreneurship. So I did this throughout high school. I grew up a competitive swimmer. I ran, did a little bit, but I took a big break when my son was born. And when I started entrepreneurship, some had to give. So the giving was the training. And I just felt very, very empty.
What was the business? Personal training?
No, my first business I started.
Yeah, well, while you had your kids, you said you had to
I started my first business. That was All Around Aquatics.
Okay.
That was my swimming and safety company.
Got it.
So I basically took, I say a hobby, and I turned it into a full-fledged business. And from that, starting that business, knowing nothing about business, the big thing I found was managing my stress. And the best management I knew going throughout college, anytime, was training.
Got it.
That was my best way. So I always had an emptiness not doing it. And when I was able to, because it puts your mind, body, and spirit together.
Training does.
Yes, it puts them in alignment. So,
Explain that to me.
Well, they say when you run a 5K, you're getting in shape. But when you run a marathon, you're getting closer to God because you're spending so much time out there. And it's something that athletes go through, especially when you run the marathon. It's called hitting a wall. And when you hit that wall, it's your body telling you to stop. It's saying, we're in danger. You should probably stop.
Yeah.
Well, athlete knows how to override that safely. And he's done that consistently, or she, in practice so many times that when you hit that wall in the race, you're now telling the body that the mind's in control. I got this. We're good. And we're going to keep going. So you see along the race, all these medical tents like every 2 miles. And it's a whole mind trip of, I could just stop right now and go in there. And you see people taking that out. And you see people falling out, and you see people getting cramps, and you still have to focus on your cadence, your breathing, and all these things. So there are a lot of things going on than just the physical, the mental, the psychological part, and then the spiritual part, where you're really getting in alignment because you trained the body, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to do what it's going to do. But now you got to trust the process. All that work you put in, trust the process. So my training went in perfect alignment with entrepreneurship, how hard it is. I knew that when I consistently put myself in challenging situations, that's when I grew the most.
Mm-hmm.
So I trained the most when I did the most in business, and it was just in perfect alignment.
I think maybe for myself, I manufacture a wall. So once it starts to get tough, that might not even be my body's wall, but it starts to get tough.
Yeah.
I just don't want to do this anymore. So I'm leaving the gym, and I'm proud of myself for actually going to the gym. So how do you know it's a real, your body is saying, yo, you got to stop. Yeah. Or my mind is just saying, this is uncomfortable. This is my limit. I don't want to do that anymore.
Good question, man. So I say the first thing is I am known for having a no excuses lifestyle. I don't hit snooze. In the morning, I don't. Zero excuses. If I'm late, I have the highest standard of myself and what is expected of me than anyone outside of me. So I guess going with your own standard is number one. Number two is you give yourself credit for showing up, but beyond that, those pat on the backs are not enough. I actually, in my head, if I don't train, I've now associated with something that I'm going to miss really dearly in my life. So, once you hit your 40s and stuff like that, I have my children. I don't want to miss my daughter graduating because I'm unhealthy. I look good, but how's my heart? How's my pressure? How's my things? I want to be in shape so I can walk her down the aisle. So I've convinced myself that the days I don't show up for myself, that may happen.
Aye.
So I always say, if your why doesn't put a tear in your eye, then, it's not really something that is going to push you for sustainability of waking up every day, doing that 200 push-ups you were doing. I'm going to ask you too. Are you still doing the 200?
I'm not doing the 200. I'm doing something, just not 200.
Okay,
because it was a challenge. So, and maybe that's my issue too. So I can push myself for a challenge. If like my morning meetup community, we did like 35 hard.
Yeah.
We didn't do 75 hard.
Yes.
Okay, it's like 30. It was like a 35 medium.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we have these lists of things that we're going to do.
Yes.
But after it's over, I get back to me.
And that's normal. So a trick that a lot of athletes do is it's called book the next race before that one's over. Because what we do is we get intoxicated with the process of the training program, not just the destination. Once we cross the finish line, it's done. I get one of those, that's that. But I have another race, so I have to keep that training program so that I am ready for the next race. So it's booking the next thing. So I get out of one challenge, set up another one. If that's what works for you, you start to put mechanisms in place so you can win. Me, when I was working from home, I put a pull-up bar in the doorway of my bedroom. So whenever I go there, I got to do 10. So it was either stay out the bedroom or knock these 10 out. So I put a bunch of mechanisms in my life to actually win. It's called winning your day. How do I win my day? I set myself up to win. So I put all these things in place so I can actually win. I purposely park a little further so you can get a little walk in.
Yeah.
I purposely, if you go into the 6th floor, get off on the 4th so you can walk up too. The little things we do. Lance Armstrong wrote a book called Washing Your Cottage Cheese. And I think it was an article. And it was literally the little things we do just to get an edge in life. And it's watching those little things. So if I want to, I'm not going to beat myself up like I don't eat meat, but I'm not going to beat myself up about eating fried food or eating the cookie I know I shouldn't, because I don't want to associate bad energy with the ingestion of what I'm doing. I'm just going to take a note of that and make sure next time I'm not walking up the cookie aisle. Because I know cookies are my weakness.
Yeah.
So I'm not walking up the cookie aisle.
Yeah. So it's that one decision to not even be around it.
That's it. I mean, they say in AA programs, the first thing is disassociation from that area or that lifestyle or those people. So sugar is a drug. We kind of know that by now. Things that, we get these cancers, and most of it is because of lifestyle. 70% of cancers are lifestyle choices. So if we understand those things, then that means we are complete creators of our entire life. All the things we pick up that we probably shouldn't, and that doesn't have to do with what we put in our mouth, but energy, situations, all that good stuff. So when I understand this, then if I want to be a better version of myself, if I do want to start working out, let me put something in there that's going to anchor me into taking action daily.
You know what I've observed when someone has a mindset, kind of like you, like we're going after it.
Yes.
That sometimes it affects the personal side of our lives because maybe the people around us aren't as driven or motivated, and it's hard to separate the two. My wife may not be as inspired or motivated to work out, and I am, and this is the lifestyle that I've developed, and she may feel that there's some sort of air of arrogance, or even if I'm in my heart, I'm trying to push you. She's not built that way. Yeah. And sometimes there can be this separation, or even if you're not saying anything in a negative way, internally, they might feel a way.
Absolutely.
And that's what creates the pressure that they're creating on themselves, on their own.
Yeah.
So what have you experienced on the personal side of having this mindset that we are going to win at all costs?
Well, one, you have to be prepared to win. And being prepared to win is not an exception of not caring about others, but is understanding that we are all adults and you are responsible for your feelings and where you are. But I'm not going to allow that to sabotage where I am. I'm not going to say because we bonded so much Netflixing and eating popcorn and eating this or eating that, that now I no longer do that. I'm not going to, I'm going to do my best as a responsible person to make sure we still had a Netflix moments. And I'm going to give you your popcorn, but I'm going to have my fruit. So I'm not going to challenge you. A lot of people try to do this when they get on their journey. They want everybody around them. Kids, let's go. You lady, your lady, let's go. Let's go. This person. And you're talking about it and you're excited. But what people follow more is your consistency.
Yeah.
So when we get on fire, we want to involve everybody. I mean, it's kind of like starting where you started. Not everybody saw the vision.
Yeah.
They always say, sometimes you can't tell your eagle dreams to pigeons. And it's not because the pigeons are, down here. It's just that they can't see from the heights of which it was birthing you and given to you. So respect that. Respect that at one point you were a pigeon. You wasn't on your workout journey. You wasn't on this and that. That's where they are. That's fine. Now you are where you are. This is birthing you, is burning in you. Get started. Put all that energy into that. And by osmosis, by your aura, they will start to feel that energy. So either they're going to get in line or just respect it. But you got to allow them to have their process.
For sure. But sometimes it's the pressure. So it's not like, all right, I'm condemning you for eating the popcorn, but I grabbed my fruit.
Yeah.
Me eating the fruit is like, oh, well, you do your thing. I do my thing. We are together. We're going to watch this movie.
Yeah.
But on the other side, as that other person is eating their popcorn, internally they feel like, oh, this is awkward. I don't feel, not that you made them feel a certain way, but this clear separation of I am on this path of greatness, of winning, and maybe I'm not, and it causes you to kind of separate ways, which is unfortunate because you can't dumb down your own process for that relationship, or can you?
Well, it's not dumbing down your process. What it is you have to make sure that you are allowing that person to go through their process of accepting where you are right now. So as men, we always want to fix everything. This is what we want to do. We feel a little inklet, something uncomfortable. You all right? We want you to be all right, especially someone we really care about, our wife, our loved one. We really care about that person. We want you to be good. But at the same time, we have to understand that just as we raise children and we got to give them tough love, and, you know, when your daughter fall, you're not running over there. You know, if she not hurt real bad, you're like, baby girl, you good. Come on, get up. Okay, we're also doing that teaching with each other. So I got to let her sit with that just a little while, because she has to do what she need to do inside to say, you know what, be consistent. And, you know, baby, I was, you know, tripping a little bit when you started with the I'm not eating this and I'm not doing that. But I understand where you're going with this. You got to allow that to happen. So you got to stand on your own too, in your square, and on your new principles, your new story. That's the thing. See, I always say, when you're creating, what follows is chaos. We saw it in the Bible with the creation at the beginning. Chaos follows. It's a natural process. So when you're creating a new story, the chaos will follow.
Yeah.
It's going to get crazy. You know, I saw when I was finishing my master's, it's like everything started happening. Like life started happening. You know, my sister got ovarian cancer, this and that. I mean, everything was happening. And last year, you know, when you're breaking into new modes, things start happening, you know, and it's understanding and trusting this process. Like, I've been here before. Yeah. You know, and you can identify, and you have been there before. It's really tough when it hits close to home. Yeah. Because you're like, it got to be, no. It's the same thing. You've been here before. Yeah. You built a business. You've been here before. When I tried something new and it didn't kind of turn out the way I wanted. Well, have you eliminated that you're no longer losing in life? You're only winning and learning? Because if that's the case, take from it what you must to create your stairs and your foundation. Leave the rest.
There's a lot of things you can do with $500. I mean, you can have a night out with your significant other. You could buy some really expensive shoes. Well, really nice shoes are about double $500. You could buy a course where you can learn something for $500. But I have something better for you to do with the $500. I want to meet with you every single morning for the rest of your life. Well, maybe not the rest of your life, but every morning, Monday through Friday, for the rest of the year. I have information and game that have allowed me to build a successful business, a successful community, and a successful life all the way around. But I want to share that with you. But the only way we can accomplish this is not me selling you a course, not me giving you a one-on-one consultation, because even with that, you'll get the information, but you'll need more. I want to meet with you every single morning. Now, would I meet with someone every morning for $500 for a year? And the answer is yes. Actually, we've been doing this thing since 2017. We have what's called the morning meetup. Every single month, we have a theme, whether it's social media, whether it's motivation, whether it's strategy, whatever it is, we have a theme for the month. And every morning in that month, we have a conversation around that topic. And I am giving a wealth of knowledge, not only myself, but a lot of friends, a lot of people that you see on this podcast, they join every single week. So you need a community of people that you can grow with, and you need a coach. I'm your coach. The Morning Meetup is your community. Go to themorningmeetup.com. It's $499, and I will meet you every single morning for an entire year. Give it a shot. Do you do personal coaching?
Yes, one-on-one.
How do you take someone?
Yeah.
I understand the way I'm seeing the world is flawed, and I know I have these issues, and I'm a quitter. I start something, I never give it a chance to grow, and then I start something else, never give that a chance to grow, and start something else. I've seen this pattern. Yeah. I've been, at building a business for the last 15, 20 years, and I cannot seem to get any motion in any of it. And it's probably coming from a thought process, a mindset shift. Yeah. You're sitting in front of someone and they clearly understand they need help with that. What are the steps and stages that you're taking people through to break that?
Yeah. Well, a big problem is consistency. That's most people's problem. It's the consistency. So when we talk about consistency, is holding on to an identity that no longer supports you. So you told me about all this quitting. Right? That's your identity. You hold on to that. It's like someone telling me that I have ADHD. So when you introduce your flaw, it's almost like your get out of jail free card. So whenever something gets a little tough, or whenever I press you on that issue, you're like, look, I'm normally a quitter. This is what I do. We have to rewire our identity. And that's like the first step. You have to understand we got to change the language we use. I don't use problems. I use promotions, because in my head now, when I hear promotions, it means, all right, I'm going through this thing right now. And if I get it right, I can help someone else. So I reframe the vocabulary that works best for my life. And when we get to a certain age and we get out of our parents' house and things like that, we have to, as responsible adults, that's like I tell my kids, start reforming words that work for you.
Yeah.
Take ownership of those words and start. So that way we're reprogramming our subconscious all the time. No, I'm not a quitter. I just haven't found anything that I cared about enough to put my energy into.
So the first step is working on our own language.
Work on your own language. That inner self-talk, that outer self-talk. But you know what? Just wasn't emotionally attached to what I was doing right there.
It's harder though if you've been with that same mindset for the last all your life, right? And
now
it's hard to quiet the voices.
Yes, because you're still holding on to the old identity.
Yeah.
So the first part is the language, and we're constantly doing that. Remember, we cannot expedite a journey that you took a long time to curate and become just like this. So if you were patient in that process of getting like that, it's kind of like Nipsey said, life is a marathon. And I add to just make sure you have the right training plan. So if I know life is a marathon, why I'm trying to sprint to this new me.
Yeah.
So trust the process. Like, all right, cool. We're going to put these steps and these mechanisms in place. I'm going to make sure you got some pull-up bars where you need to, put all those things in place so that you are always making sure that you are in the right place. And that was a big reason for me creating my community, was because the fastest transformation I've seen is immersion. So immersion will take you from where you want to be to where you are.
Explain what immersion is.
Immersion is rather I'm doing a one-on-one with someone, which will cost them much more money, but I put you in this immersive state. Let's just say if you quitting all the time. Well, if you're hanging around me and quitting is not what I do, I will put you through a bunch of modalities through your normal workday that reinforces you're not quitting. You understand?
Yeah.
So, like I would say, which we are going to do, so I'm going to take this jacket off. Right after this, we're going to probably bust out 50.
Say less.
Okay. I don't care if they're ugly 50, but we're going to get 50
It's going
done.
to be a nice 50. I can
Okay.
hold you.
So we're going to bust out 50. Why? Because if I want to step into this new place to where I'm not quitting, then I'm always going to say yes to me. The problem is you got so comfortable lying to yourself that it's no good. And it's not good to lie to other people, but it's even worse to lie to yourself.
Yeah.
So in this reframing process, we have to stop lying to ourselves, because what happens is you get comfortable and now you got that open door, that back door says, all right, yeah, I do this all the time. Let me, scurry out of here. That's good. I did enough. So we're no longer doing that. We're reframing. We're making sure we put our own standards in place. We got our language in place. We got a new manifesto of who we are. We're now starting to rebuild that new story. And that's the thing. How do we get to that new story? Well, to get to anything new, we got to let go of something. To get anything new in a cup, we got to pour some out.
Yeah.
So you have to be willing to let go. What are you willing to let go? Because the more you let go, the more you get.
And you were talking about your process of when you had your first child, I believe.
Yes.
You stopped training because it was
it was too much.
Pick and choose. Tell me about that.
Well,
were you with the mother? Are you still with the mother now?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm
Were you
single.
with the mother during that process when the child comes?
When it's very interesting. So I had my child and we were not together. It was kind of that one for the road kind of thing. So we were already out of relationship.
Yeah, last
And God had a sense of humor. So
maybe that one last time.
That one last time, boy. But you know, it was a blessing in the sense that honestly, if we wait to when we're completely ready, it's like God know when we're ready. I went straight into father mode. And
did you try to work it out with her at that time?
We tried. Yeah, we tried, and but we knew before that it wasn't, you know, that case. It just this happened, and we stepped up when we did the parent thing, and it wasn't easy. You know, it's still never easy. But I always say, you know, you can't change people, but you can always change you, like right now. Yeah, and that's to me what made it easier.
Got it. How old's your child now?
I have a 26-year-old, 18-year-old, and a 12-year-old.
So the 26-year-old is the one where you stopped training for that period?
Yes.
Is that your first child? Okay.
Yes.
So I'm trying to understand why you stopped or what got you out of that
Something had
mindset.
to give. I was brand new to business. I didn't know anything about business. I mean, I went into real estate and I didn't know what a mortgage was. So that was the type of business that intrigued me the most. I paid for a mentorship. I'm not going to say which one. I mean, I could put it on blast because they should be doing better than what they did. But I'll say it, Robert Kiyosaki.
Oh, right.
So it was a lot of outdated information. A lot of the information was obsolete. I was learning from people that made their money in the 80s and 90s, and a lot of what they were teaching was not relevant. Double closings and things like that. It wasn't relevant to what I was doing right there. Yeah. I'm always thankful for it because it was my first introduction into mentorships and all these things like that. And it gave me a little ground. I always say, you know, I did lose a bunch of money, but it was the cost of me paying for business school that I didn't go to. Yeah. So my losses are the cost I need to go into my next level, my next promotion. And I could have paid $200,000 or whatever to go get an MBA or whatever the case may be, but I'm doing it now with experience. Yeah, and I can make immediate adjustments. So that was my first taste of mentorship. But I could not.
So you're doing business, your business, your child came, dealing with all the stuff that comes with a baby.
Well, a big thing was mother of my child. I don't say baby mama. Yeah. I got to make sure I start saying mother of my child from the beginning because I want to always keep her in the right frame of mind too. Yeah, for sure. Because when you say baby mama, they act like baby mama. So I never say baby mama. I always say mother of my child. Okay, so dealing with the mother of your child that you know y'all not going to be together. And I'm sure it was just as hard dealing with her is dealing with you, right? So y'all had y'all. That's it. Things. You know, I'm not gonna say that's not the case. You always have to take responsibility. Yeah. Another huge factor in that was I didn't grow up with my father. I grew up in a single mother household. So me being a father was the greatest thing for me. It's the reason I went into business. I remember sitting and saying, what is he gonna say when he go to kindergarten? What your father does? Now, and I sat with that question. I'm like, you know, okay, he can say, you know, I do this. I graduated physical therapist, you know, doing the thing. But what else? Because when I had the job, I was working 60, 80-hour weeks. And then I had another job. So what he seen was me working all the time. But what I was missing was what completed me. I didn't want anyone to tell me he said this or he did that or he did that. So that's what intrigued me about business. All I was thinking of was freedom. Yeah. And I got really sick of people controlling the narrative. You know, I thought in the workforce, as long as you work really hard and get things done, that was enough. Yeah. And I remember being told on my last job, probably like 19 years ago, that I'm making too many changes too fast. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, the supervisor, everybody else is saying this is great. But the other department heads, because I was the director of my department, said, you're making too many changes too bad. And I'm like, you know, whatever. I'm busting my butt. I'm doing my thing. And I did not understand, that corporate America structure where you can grow and get things done, but it needs to be incremental because you have to also be cognizant of the other players around you.
Mm-hmm.
And I just never wanted to conform to corporate America because I work hard.
Yeah.
I put the work in.
That question, I'm sure that's triggering someone. What is my child going to say their dad does or their mom does when they get older? And that would be a reason to push to say, yo, I want them to be able to brag on me.
That's it. So I honestly, you go through that phase where you're your child's superhero.
Mm-hmm.
But every day now, everything I do, I'm still my kid's superhero.
Yeah.
So, when I train, the reason I got back in training, yes, it was an empty part of me, but I didn't want my kids to see all my trophies and my medals from before and me just talk about what I used to do. I really hate the used to because I grew up around older folks that used to be like, oh, I used to. I'm like, I used to always think, where's that now? You know what I'm saying? I had the uncles that was, pimps and hustlers and, they talk about what I used to do, what I used to have. And I always heard all these things and I was always intrigued with what do you have now? And it later started to understand more I got into business was it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep.
The facts.
And that mentality was with me from before. I just didn't understand what it was. And so I was always intrigued with what are you doing now? Mm-hmm. And it was I was answering that question. How do I want my kids to see me? It's what started to change my mentality from being a taker and being more of a giver. It's what started to healthier lifestyle. All these things I knew 70% of what they're taking in is from what they're watching me do.
Yeah.
It's the reason that I've always read a lot, but I used to read after I gave all my time to them during the day. So I would read at night. So then I read another book and they were like, they should see you reading if you want them to read. Mm-hmm. So when they started doing homework and I would help them with it a little bit, I would pull my book out and I would read. So they then start seeing me read. It made them more of an avid reader.
For sure. As you're going through this transition, what is the first business that really worked out for you?
My swimming safety company. I started a lot of businesses
before your child, though, right?
Nah, that wasn't before. I started entrepreneurship as a dad.
Oh wow!
Yes,
got it. Okay, so you started swimming
when I was doing daddy daycare,
mm-hmm.
and had him 3 months during the day, and the deal was when mom gets home at a certain time, you take over and stuff. Yeah, that's when I started my business.
All right,
in between naps.
How did financially? How to do?
I had 6 employees, full-time employees. Like I said, I was learning business. I was evicted, straight out of Pursuit of Happiness. Evicted. Right. Wow. To where I'm like holding my kid and sheriffs are knocking on the door, but I still had 6 full-time employees. They were getting paid, but I was taking away from what I was doing. My CPA kept saying, hey, you're not doing this right.
Yeah.
I wasn't. I was over leveraged. I was trying to do too much. And, I was not managing money properly when it came to, probably had too many employees at the time and things of that nature. But, and they became more of a family. So I was really considerate of their family and their situations and wasn't considerate of mine.
Yeah.
So everybody got taken care of. My kids never missed a beat on what they needed. But I was living out my car. And I remember doing what we was speaking about the squatters. I was breaking into my own place to get what I needed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, it was a journey. It was a journey, but what it did was it really sped up me getting it right. 'Cause every 30 days bills still came.
Yeah.
And I understood if I build a business to where every 30 days I have to be a chameleon to pay those bills, now I got a problem.
Yeah.
And I always tell people before you exit your job, your passive residual business income is going to help you exit that earned income.
Yeah.
So allow that earned income to be your first business partner, and then move from there.
And how long did you run that business?
I ran that business for 10, almost 12 years.
And in that 10th or 12th year, did you eventually get above water and start running your business effectively?
Honestly, I didn't get above water to probably 8 to 9 years in the business. And that was because what was holding me back was my mindset, which is why I'm so big on mindset. So all the things I was doing, I was always the walk and learn person. I started getting the mentorships, but I would take a course and I don't have to finish the course because I'm so smart. I can figure out the rest. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got this. Oh, okay, I got it. Let me start moving. So I would do that. And I was my biggest problem.
Yeah.
That ego. So when I shed that ego, it worked in every area of my life. I had to shed it as a father. I had to shed it in business. It didn't serve me no more. It helped me as a young kid in Brooklyn to grow up and really push hard and really, when everything around me, that's not what was happening. But after that, it no longer served where I am now. That's the identity I was speaking to you about. I had to change my identity to something that now served my current self.
Yeah, which makes sense to this book that you're dropping, Habit Transformation 2.0, Mastering the Power of a Lasting Change. And I'm just going to go through some of the titles. And as I'm going through the chapter titles, if anything stands out to you of things that people really need to learn from this book, you stop me. So 1 is understanding your current habits. 2 is designing your habit transformation plan. I think we talked about that. The habit loop.
Stop.
Talk to me.
The understanding your current habits.
Okay.
You can't fix anything you don't know you have a problem with. You see that now in a lot of relationships, whether personal or just work related. If you don't know you have some issues, some undesirable habits that are not serving yourself, your current self, then how do you know what you're going to change? How do you know where to start?
And we don't even typically see the things we do as habits. It's just things we do. We woke up and did something today. I probably habitually did some things this morning that I just always do. Whether it serves me or doesn't, I don't know. It's just what I do.
And that's why you have to do an audit. The audits are really, really important. And I talk about this in the book. Auditing what those habits are, auditing what the possibilities they are, getting someone trusted. You got your wife right there. So, asking those hard questions. And I really go over what those questions are to start to really uncover what those habits are.
Chapter 6 is the science behind habit formation. And this part is interesting. It says, my research revealed that habits are deeply embedded in our brain's neural pathways. They form as a result of a process known as chunking, in which repeated behaviors become automatic and require a little cognitive effort. This explained why my unproductive habits seem so simple to maintain, but so difficult to change.
That is, in simplest form, habits are what we do unconsciously. And what the body does, even on a biological level, when we have tumors and things like that, it encapsulate everything that's not healthy for the body. And that's what a tumor is. It's sitting there encapsulated. So your body does this so that you don't spend so much time on cognitive activities. It starts to encapsulate those that you do on repeat and just set them over as habits so they're on autopilot. Because realistically, we only have a very small daily amount of space in our brains to pick up new things.
Wow. Bro, some of these topics I want to dive into, like self-love, defining love for yourself. And I don't know. I love me, I believe. But even through this conversation, maybe there's some habits that say the opposite that I don't know about. You know what I mean?
So to me, discipline is self-love.
Discipline is
Consistency
self-love.
is self-love. Boundaries is self-love. So when you put those boundaries in place, that is self-love. That's not saying I love me and I don't give a damn what you do. It's saying I love me in spite of what your actions are at the time, because it doesn't mean that you are a good or bad person. It just means you're not where I am right now. So once again, you start redefining words that best work for you.
One of the actionable tasks here in that particular chapter is practice self-compassion. Treat yourself as you would a loved one in kindness, with kindness and understanding. When confronted with difficulties or setbacks, remind yourself that you are human and worthy of compassion. Practicing self-compassion, treat yourself as you would a loved one.
Yes.
And the thing is, I was brought up with the idea that I treat people the way they would want to be treated and not the way that I would want to be treated, because they're not me. However, if I always treat people the way I want to be treated, then people won't like me. Or I'll run into these issues where it's almost like self-deprecating in the same way, right? Because I want to treat people the way that I want to be treated, but everybody doesn't want to be treated the way I want to be treated. The way I want to be treated is left alone sometimes.
Just about to say, most men, a lot of us just want to be left alone at times.
That's my love language. I don't know why they didn't put that in the love language list.
Well, I got a problem with that love
left
language
alone.
thing. Yeah, I got that love language book. I mean, it's so well, excellent marketing.
I know you love me. You just leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
Let me deal with the stuff. Now, on the other side of this, and this will be a good conversation, on the other side of it, it closes me off to accepting the help that I need, or it closes me off from getting a different perspective because I want to sit with my own thoughts, and my own thoughts can be dangerous, especially if I have one of those slightly toxic mindsets.
Well, that's when like I said, my whole life is full of mechanisms, and I try to help people put mechanisms in their life. So one, you identify what your issue is already.
Yeah.
So to me, each person is their own life coach with a little bit of coaching. So you know what your issue is already. So put something in place that when you go down this rabbit hole, you're only allowed to do this for a certain amount of time before a trusted person, you run this by.
So my left alone needs to have a period.
Has to. Stop putting a comma where a period should be. That's everything in life.
Dang, I love a good comma.
I know.
I come upstairs to eat and chill, but I really want to go back downstairs to my office and just...
So that part, you're married, so I'm sure your wife understands those I need to be left alone parts, and those times where
and she does. She gets it.
I do need some touch. I do need some contact. I do need some, that. And it's understanding and balancing those times unapologetically.
Kind of selfish though. Leave me alone and then touch me, but leave me alone again. I want to be touched after I've been left alone, but I want to be left alone after we've been touched. And she's like, what? Bro, what's up with you?
But you know what? We all have our things. And when we choose this life thing with a partner, we're choosing to do this life thing, this movie with them and understand their things, which is my issue with the book, because it makes people our human brains always just want to get an answer. Yeah. What's the answer to the 5 love languages? We don't want to actually do the work. And that's in everything. And that's why I created my community, because with immersion, you don't feel the work happening, and as we say with running, if you want to go fast, you can go by yourself. But if you want to go further, you go with the group. Yeah. Because you don't feel the hard workout as much. Yeah. You don't have to worry about your route or worry about this, worry about that. Just keep up with the pack. Yeah. So we immerse ourselves in situations to where that transformation is a lot more seamless than it would be by ourselves. Again, setting yourself up to win.
This is good. And I think you're going to have to help me with this marathon thing. I think one day I want to do a marathon.
Have you did a 5K?
I don't be on the treadmill long. Okay.
Okay. So we're going to start with the 5K.
I'm saying I want to, it's not even saying that I have a desire to run the 5K.
Mm-hmm.
I have a desire to want to have the desire
Mm-hmm.
one day. Right now I don't have it.
Okay.
Weird. Is that weird? Am I off? I'm on. Yeah. So I want that.
Mm-hmm.
How, and I don't even know if this is if there is an answer,
Yeah.
but how can I increase my desire for something that I need that I just don't want right now?
Okay. Tell me if I said after this podcast, we're going to go out and hoop. Let's battle.
Yeah, let's go. I'm with it
Okay.
because I like to hoop.
Mm. Well, what hooping is a part of that identity that you hold on to. So we can't do anything different in our life till we delete and add something new to the new identity. Okay. So what's the new identity to now? I want to do, I want to be a marathon runner, or run at least one marathon.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to stop flirting with the idea, all that wanna. As many words as you put in between you doing it, just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And no plug for Nike, but just doing it and all those extra words is as far as it's going to take you to get it done. When you get up and
before
say,
I want it, just do it. And maybe if I do it, I'll want it.
I'm saying just lace your sneakers up and do a little something. I don't care if you run, walk.
Do a little
Just show up for yourself. As we say, just keep press and play. Put your sneakers right there, lace up, get outside.
How long is a 5K?
5K is 3.1 miles. Stop. That's another thing.
What I do?
We don't do that part.
My facial
We don't do that part. We don't do that how far. We put what you're doing is you're putting walls in front of yourself. That's like you want to start walking again after rehab, and okay, you don't really need the crutches, but you're getting the crutches because here it makes you feel better.
Yeah.
Well, now you gotta go through that crutch situation just to get back to what you need to be doing anyway. So you're just adding an extra level of work for yourself. And if you are a quitter, then what's worse than quitting is extra work. That should be even worse in your head because we know that is the trigger towards quitting. When I think I have extra work and this work isn't producing something, a desired habit, a desired outcome, then I'm going to quit. I don't have no staying power for it. So how do I eliminate a lot of that?
I feel wrong even asking this question, but about how long should a 5K be?
Okay, so you get
time wise.
Nah, see,
this helps me. Why? This has helped me, and it could be my identity.
No, I'm just saying. You want to know what's inspiring to me?
Yes.
When I run marathons and I see someone 70, 80 years old out there running at their pace. So we have another saying. It's called "Run your own race." I don't give a damn how long it takes.
My brain needs a window, bro. An expectation. There's a 75-year-old.
You want to know why?
Why?
Because your brain is setting you up to quit if you don't reach that expectation. If your goal is to complete the 5K, then the goal should not be on the time you complete it. Because now you're setting yourself up. You're doing it now to quit.
I need expectations. If there's a 75-year-old.
Your expectation is complete the 5K.
If there's a 75-year-old,
yes,
right? And they're going at their own pace, maybe slow.
Yes.
I'll be sick if a 75-year-old is going fast, but let's just say slow.
But you shouldn't.
And then we got Carlos, right? There's a delta between you and someone that does their first thing and they're trying to get their body moving. I'm not going after Carlos, but I'm gonna cook this person. So I'm a competitive person.
You're gonna cook the 75-year-old.
Exactly.
That's what we saying right now. That's what you're saying.
I need to know how long it takes the slowest person, and then I can set my target for a little bit shorter than that.
And that's what I work on. I work on reformatting that part because we got disabled people that have one leg and they're literally pushing their wheelchair backward because they can't go forward. We got blind people that are holding on to a guide that is running and the guide is saying left and right. It's finding inspiration in what you do, not taking I'm competitive in everything. I grew up in a generation where we didn't get participation badges. There was nothing at the first.
You had to win.
That's it. You just won or that's not. So I have an issue with people not being competitive. I teach my kids to be competitive in all that they do. And your competition is your yesterday. It ain't nobody else. It's your yesterday. Did I not fix my bed yesterday? I'm doing it today. Did I not cook what I need? Did I not do what I was supposed to have been doing yesterday? I did it today. I'm winning. I'm winning today. So it's really about turning, I think Kobe said this. I am my competition. He just wanted to outdo what he did yesterday. That's why he was in the gym like that every day. So if he put up 500 made shots, I got to do 502 today. So when I get on the court, you just pawns. I call it controlling the E5 mentality. I play a lot of chess. My son he was ranked 8 in the United States and 2 in New York in chess.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm bragging on my kids, but but I brag on them because a lot of people look at the accomplishments I have, but my true accomplishments is what I pour into them. So when they do and make their accomplishments, and most importantly, it's less their accomplishments and the little people that they are. Yeah. So when I see them guiding their friends with something I didn't think they were listening to, then I'm like, that's what it is.
All right, so walk me through the E5.
Okay, so the E5, you play chess?
I don't know the numbers.
Okay, so
I play.
The E5 is controlling the center, which, as people of color, when they say they are playing chess and we're playing checkers, controlling the E5 is making sure we're in a position to where we can see what's coming up the block. Okay, it gives us enough time to see what they're doing over there, to see how all the pieces are moving. And when we control that position straight out the gate, our E5, our center of the board, then it allows us to kind of get a good landscape of how to navigate through this. And when you do this in life at a macro level, which everything starts internally, when we start to control the E5 of your life, what's going to make the biggest change? Because I'm sparing out a lot of energy in a whole lot of different places. I want to do this because people are doing it. I want to do this because people making millions here. I want to do this because this looks and feel good. It's real dope. Well, if it's not going to inspire my change, then I really don't want it enough. Because it's kind of like hatred burns good. Okay, it fueled my dislike for my father at an early age fueled me to do these exceptional things, but it's not good for the environment. The environment was me. So when I changed to love, when I didn't ask why, and it was just love, and I reestablished this relationship with him, then it was just a whole different feel. Did it burn as well as hate? No. But was it good for the environment?
Yeah.
Did it do has some good residuals in effect with it too? So I learned to use love as my fuel. Now it was, instead of competitively, can I cook that person? I'm looking and I'm inspired by everything. And I'm thanking God for, I really get to do this.
Yeah.
Like, ain't every day, damn, I got to work out. Yeah, some days. I live in New York. I'm running when it's 7 degrees below. I don't check the weather. It look cold. Let me put this on, It's not determining my workout. It doesn't determine my day, the weather. I already state at the beginning of the day, it's going to be a great day. I declare it. And it doesn't matter that something is happening in one of my businesses or this or that. That's a moment. And to me, in my head, it's disrespectful to God to destroy a whole day over a moment. I've lost too much, too many, and too many people for that. To me, it's disrespectful to handle things in that manner.
Wow.
So I'm only allowed to have moments and either grow with it, honor that moment. So be present, be mindful, but I need to move on past this because we all fall, but it's how long we hang out in that place.
Yeah.
I always say, Don't hang out in the part of your neighbor, your mind, that neighborhood that's gonna mug you, because there's parts of our mind that'll do us dirty.
100%.
And you were telling me, you were just saying some of those. So it's learning how to not hang out in the spot that's gonna do you dirty. Like, why are you showing up just to get robbed? That's what we say in Brooklyn. You did it to yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know this ain't your spot, and you wanna come through dripping around the wolves. Unless you're ready to go there, why would you put yourself in that situation?
And why would I show up to beat an 80-year-old in a race? I feel like this is actually helping my mindset. I see how terrible the things I just said were. Like, I want to make sure I'm doing better than the 80-year-old. That is a wild thing to say. Hey, forgive me, y'all. Okay, Carlos, this
be
is
inspired by the 80-year-old.
Okay,
yeah, be inspired by the 80-year-old.
That was a terrible. I have a rotten mindset in that way.
Yeah.
Carlos, this is a really good conversation, bro.
Thank you, brother.
I'm not gonna lie. This is like a mind-shaping conversation, and I think you gave some really good perspectives on how we need to lead our lives.
Thank you.
And more importantly, how we need to lead our day.
Yeah.
And I think it translates into how we lead the moments that happen, and things are gonna happen to all of us throughout the day. You got your highs, your lows, weird stuff. I got a bunch of weird stuff happening.
We all do
right now, bro.
Yeah, we all do.
Oh gosh,
it gets funky.
Even after this, I got to make a bunch of phone calls I just don't want to make, or stuff I don't want to deal with. But I mean, it is what it is. What are you going to do?
We need to do those first. That's another big thing. Whatever's the hardest, do first.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to spend the whole day, damn, I got to get it done. It's going to drag down. You remember those, you're allowed to have your moments, but not the whole damn day.
Well said, man. Listen, one, I want to know where you see yourself in the next 5 years, because I want to watch this episode 5 years from today and say, Lo said he's going to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So where I see myself, and we, I see myself, I just started a foundation. My first son just passed actually last year. And my first son passed last year. It's about to be a year in March. And I created a foundation, the DeMonte Patterson Foundation. My trip to Ghana, that was recently, it really was some eye-opening things when I went there. It was a connection. I'll say definitely every person in the diaspora should make a trip back home. I work with a lot of Israeli Jews in real estate, and going back to Israel is huge for them. The same thing with Chinese Americans that I work with in the real estate space. It's very big to connect to China. So we go to the Bahamas, we go here, we go there. We need to make a trip. There's something when you touch down on that soil that just makes it all make sense. And you need to feel that as a person of the diaspora. And so I've been to Africa a couple of times before that, to Senegal and different places. But when I hit Ghana, it was different. And, dealing with my son's death, it just made sense. He was a chef, and, that's what he enjoyed doing. He enjoyed feeding people.
Yeah.
So I created this foundation to feed children. And, I could have just gave my money to other feeding foundations, but when I touched down, I got to see, and I made the connections, it just so happened like that, with chefs and things like that. And I got to see people that needed it and where it would go. So definitely I want to keep growing that foundation, the DeMonte Patterson Foundation. I didn't think I'd be doing this anytime soon, but sometimes life position you to where things that you had no idea that you'll be doing, that you're doing in an amazing way.
Yeah.
So that I want to continue to, I'm doing less of personal coaching and more of group, because I'm really set on the immersion. So it's just really watching the flourishing of my Inspiring Warriors community. So that I'm really psyched about. And also inspiring people that, I'm always saying, put your hurt into your work. Growing through grief. So as I'm dealing with grief, which is a daily process, in the wake, I still bought businesses. I still did races. I still acquired portfolios. I still did things. I still inspired people. Because it was very important for me to, go through this process in the most healthiest manner I could. So I trimmed the fat on a lot of things that probably felt good, but if they wouldn't give me any reciprocity, I kind of fell back on those things and really focused on the things that were adding reciprocity. I tell people, like that old show, Cheers. You want to go where everybody know your name?
Yeah, for sure.
You need to be in areas where people make you feel good.
Yeah.
Where you celebrate it. And we all deserve this. And we need to make sure in 5 years, I want to make sure I'm a beacon of occupying spaces that make me feel good and inspiring others to do the same. So I'm really, really intoxicated with trying to help individuals see that is so much more. Like, we can all make money. It ain't as hard as you making it. So I did the hard work for you. So let me show you how to do this and make it a little bit more simple. All I need is your commitment.
Sure. I love it, man. Thank you so much for coming, man. Let everybody know how they can connect with you.
Oh, absolutely.
Be a part of your book, your community, all of that.
Absolutely. So you can find me, the official Carlos Patterson, on Instagram, on Facebook. I'm on TikTok. The inspiringwarriors.com community. My book, you can find it as well. Just hit me up, just DM me. It's in my bio. It's on Amazon. My first book, Habit Transformation, The Guide to Living Your Best Life. And there is definitely more to come. So just hit me up, man.
What's your Instagram?
What's that?
What's your Instagram handle?
The official Carlos Patterson.
The official Carlos Patterson. Okay, man. Listen, man. If this is a really good conversation, I want you to send a DM to Carlos right now. Just say thank you. That goes a long way, man. I listened to the episode.
Absolutely.
I checked it out. It was really, really good. It was helpful. And I think just showing people gratitude is incredible. So do yourself a favor. Make sure you follow Carlos, get the book, be a part of the community, and just tap in with this brother, man. It's a good brother. And also do yourself a favor and get you some social proof, meaning go build something. Build it really, really big. But after you do that, come back to your community and teach them how you did it. It's the only way our community grows. All right? We are out of here. Peace.
Peace.
First off, congratulations on watching this whole episode. If you like this episode you just watched, check out this one right here. I handcrafted this one for you because you like the one you just watched. Check it out.